would say two major trends worldwide have been taking place. One is, of course, globalization, and the other is the information technology revolution. Generally speaking, when people reflect about globalization, they tend to think in terms of trade, and of course, trade has globalized, and they turn to think in terms of finance, and there has been a globalization of finance. They think about migration, and there is a movement of people around the world that is also global in scope. We tend to think about remittances or tourism. All this has to do with globalization. But we tend to miss the point that there is also globalization of higher education. And this is having and will have a tremendous impact in the future development of the Dominican Republic and Latin America. And when you combine the globalization of higher education with the impact of information technology in education, then we are in a threshold of a major radical revolution that will transform all of our nations, and I think at this moment will transform the Dominican Republic. How can this be done? Well, our government began in 2005 a massive scholarship program, sending young, talented Dominicans abroad. Our goal was 10,000 Dominicans that will be funded with government resources to go to different places in the world. At this moment, we have already 8,000 Dominicans, young, talented students in different parts of the world. In Spain, in France, in Italy, in the UK, here in the United States, in Mexico, Colombia, Brazil, Argentina, Taiwan, South Korea. And our aspiration is that by next year we can complete the 10,000 students. Now, what does this mean? It means not only that these students are going to have grades at the PhD level or master's degrees. It's not only that they're going to be involved in university academic activities. It's also learning a new culture, learning a new language, learning a new way of understanding, looking at things. It's creating new references so that when they go back home in the Dominican Republic, they'll have a new mindset that will enable the possibility of implementing public policies in favor of modernization. Unless you understand what is taking place around the world, it is not possible to really make a contribution to your country. Sometimes it is said that you understand your country better when you establish some distance from it. You can look at it from abroad. And I think this really helps. So having 10,000 students in Europe, in Latin America, in Asia, learning new cultures, learning new languages, meeting new peoples, establishing new networks, connecting with institutions, that will have a major impact in the Dominican Republic in the first half of the 21st century. But at the same time, we are establishing a relationship between Dominican institutions of higher learning with universities abroad. So there is a sense of mobility of professors, researchers, writers coming into the Dominican Republic, lecturing, sharing ideas, opinions, best practices, and creating a new style of learning. This is also happening. So, for example, we have signed an agreement with 40 universities in France. Professors and researchers come to the Dominican Republic from these different French universities and research centers and think tanks. Also with Spain, we have a relationship with different universities in Spain, and teachers from Spain come to the Dominican Republic and teach at our different universities. Now, what is the impact this has? There is a different perspective of looking at things from different universities and from different countries. So you only diversify in your view and your understanding of different aspects, economically, socially, but also in science, that we never have had before in our country or in Latin America. At the same time, some of these universities are establishing campuses worldwide. It's not only in the Dominican Republic or Latin America, it's taking place worldwide. Universities here in New York, for example, are opening campuses in Abu Dhabi, opening campuses in Singapore, and this is something new, something that we didn't have 5-10 years ago. There is, I would say, a globalization of higher education that we didn't have before. So, students going abroad, exchange programs with professors, with students, foreign students coming to the Dominican Republic for internship programs, targeting some specific research projects that will be useful for the universities or for businesses, for example. All this is making a very silent revolution, a silent transformation in the Dominican Republic and in different countries in Latin America. Now, what do we expect to happen as a result of this exchange, of this globalization of higher education? Latin America, Dominican Republic, different countries around the world want to make now economically a transition from commodity exports, from service-oriented economy in commerce, in finance, in telecommunications, for example, more into high-tech, more into a knowledge-based economy. I think everyone has understood that the prosperity of any nation in the future has to do with creating a knowledge-based economy. It has to be a knowledge-based economy. We have been successful in the past with our economic base. The Dominican Republic traditionally was an agricultural export-led nation, exporting sugar, tobacco, coffee, etc. Then we shifted more into tourism, into remittances, into telecommunications, into banking, trade. But now we understand the need to have a knowledge-based economy because we can diversify our production capacity, because we'll be able to create new jobs, new opportunities, and we can become more integrated within the world economy. Knowledge-based economy then means that we can move on into information and communications technologies. And this will mean, for example, developing a software industry in the Dominican Republic. And when we talk about software industry, let's say we can take advantage of the Spanish language, develop applications in Spanish for education. And in education, you can think about anything. You can do applications for math classes, for physics, for chemistry, for biology, for whatever. You can have for each subject an application in Spanish. And if you're thinking just about the US market, it's 40 million Spanish-speaking people that will purchase these applications in Spanish language. But you can also do it for the medical sector. You can do it for the accounting business sector. You can do it for transportation, for whatever you want. You can develop the software industry applications in the Spanish language. And you will have a market of over 700 million people around the world that speak the Spanish language and interested to have applications in Spanish. Now, we don't have a software industry developed as of yet in Latin America or in the Dominican Republic. It's beginning to develop in Brazil, which is exporting already over $4 or $5 billion a year in software products. It's being developed in Argentina, in Mexico, a little in Uruguay, but nothing in the Caribbean. Barbados has a little bit of information and communications technologies, but the Dominican Republic can really transform itself economically by developing the software industry. We have the place. We built the Santo Domingo Cyber Park, which is a scientific technological park that attracts foreign investment in the high-tech field. But also we can do biotechnology. And I think the state of New Jersey is a great example of what you can do with biotech in the life science field. We can do it for, let's say, reforestation in the Dominican Republic. How are we going to plant 30 million units in the next 10 years? We have to do with biotech methodologies. Life science, cellular biology, whatever, it can be done. And the possibility of doing it is the combination of exchange between major universities and research centers and the use of technologies. So having a knowledge-based economy, a knowledge-based center of education is possible because of the combination of this worldwide mobility of human resources and the use of technology. By the use of technology, then, I would mean the possibility of having video conferences, of downloading programs, for example, in iTunes universities, that they're free to be downloaded, and classes from very prestigious universities that can be used in exchange, at the different universities in the Dominican Republic. So what we see now is the possibility, never before in history, of uplifting, of escalating your productivity capacity at the level of developed countries. This can be done because for the first time, due to technology, you can leapfrog. You don't have to go through different stages of economic growth. You can jump some stages, you can leapfrog, and you can become integrated within the world economy for the first time. And this has happened with anyone even thinking about it, or anyone developing a strategy to take advantage of it. So now that we know that there is the possibility of leapfrogging, that there is the possibility of making a transition from agricultural, service-oriented, high-tech, knowledge-based economy, we have to plan on it. And at this moment in the Dominican Republic, we're working on a 30-year plan for economic and social development. What exactly are we viewing for the Dominican Republic in the 30 years to come? We want to have a modern, developed, with social well-being for the majority of the people in the Dominican Republic. And the only way to do that is beginning now, beginning yesterday, I would say, with development human capital in the Dominican Republic, developing human resources. And that means prioritizing education as the basic need that we have in order to fulfill our dream of a stable democracy with economic and sustainable development with opportunity for all. Can we achieve that in the Dominican Republic? Yes, we can, as President Obama says here in the United States. Yes, we can, in the Dominican Republic, transform our country in a developed nation that will bring opportunities. And you hear, the students at Paterson University, the students in the United States can make a major contribution in making this happen, because you are at the right place, at the right time, learning what you need to learn in these moments of historical change worldwide, what you need to know, and you have your patriotic feeling for the Dominican Republic. You'll be traveling back and forth. We'll attract investments, foreign investments, companies, corporations from different parts of the world in the Dominican Republic with what you have learned here, with your connections, with your linkages with institutions. You will go back to the Dominican Republic, you will work there, but you will be commuting continuously. You don't have to necessarily stay in the Dominican Republic. The wave of the future is also moving around different places, but the main goal is attracting the attention of the world to the Dominican Republic, and we can make it a world hub for high-tech, for a knowledge-based economy, and that means prosperity and progress for all. And this is my dream for the Dominican Republic that I wanted to share with you this afternoon. So thank you very much.
Welcome to Nacio TV, the SAIC News Channel. Nacio TV for breaking news.